Hello, everyone. This is Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live, and today joining me is Marty Morse. He's the owner of Morse Custom Homes and Remodeling. Hi, Marty.
Hello, Heidi. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for joining me. So let's get right into it. Your operations, did they change at all? Were you ever required to stop work?
You know, there was that moment in March where everybody kind of stood still and was waiting for the announcement to come out. And I remember coming into work, I don't know the specific date, but it was when the shutdown came in and shelter in place. And in the morning, we found out that the construction industry had been left open. At the last minute, there was a push, some lobbying going on to keep construction projects going, which enabled us to keep our doors open. So that was a really good positive that we had at that point, in time. I know a lot of businesses, absolutely almost everybody shut down. But with our construction projects, a lot of them that we were doing at the time, we weren't in occupied houses. So we got kind of lucky during that time frame that we could continue on some of these larger scale projects, not working around the people that own the house, and building the big project and building it out. It worked for us, and we were able to keep the mask on and keep doing that as per the state requirements. There were some projects though that we were doing that we were in bathrooms or kitchens and smaller things, and fortunately for us, we were right at the very end of those projects. And so we let it be up to the client. Hey, we can finish this up. We have the right to do that. We can come in with our masks and our gloves and, disinfect everything and go down that path. And most of them were good with that, but there were a few who said, no, let's just wait. We're at a good point right now. We can use our new space. Let's just wait. And when this gets lifted, we'll come back in. And since then, we've come back in and finished up. So I think that we got pretty lucky in that sense, that we were able to keep our operations going.
Sure. And so never before have people really understood how important the home is. What is happening in terms of business now?
Well, April and May were really quiet for us. I think, obviously everybody was at home. A lot of homes were crowded, and people were probably contemplating doing some sort of renovation or something during that time frame. Maybe they were talking about it, and it kept going on. Week after week, we keep hearing this is extended and this and that, and we were super quiet. We didn't get a lot of inquiries during that time. I think some of the inquiries were more about just kind of like getting an idea of what's it going to take, and we could do some Zoom meetings like we're doing today. But right now in this climate, I think with the opening up coming out, I think we're seeing a lot of pent up energy for the last few months of people that maybe were thinking about doing that remodel, and then the shutdown came, and now they're deciding to go ahead and move forward. And so just today, I mean, the big hot items are basically additional space. It seems like somehow getting a secondary dwelling unit. We've had a couple of those consults. Maybe putting in an office space, carving it out of another room and making another room inside of a room to make an office space, a quiet zone, or even a recreation room. We're getting a little bit of an uptick on all those different types of uses in the house. I think the pent up energy of having everybody close together has kind of focused in on how can we get a little bit more space out of our house.
Yeah. So when people are contemplating a project or doing really anything these days, they are concerned primarily with safety. So what are those measures that you are required to, and what is Morse Remodeling, Custom Homes and Remodeling done to just guarantee the safety, or do as best you can for the safety of your employees and your consumers?
Absolutely, yes. So we're wearing our masks, and as we go in, sometimes we're even asking, and we're getting, if it's okay with the client, we're going to be putting our booties on. We're going to be sometimes we're using gloves, depends on where we are. But when we're finishing up some of those projects that we had started, when we're done, we're going through and we're wiping down the entire workspace area, all the hard surfaces that we were working on, and then leaving the space disinfected when we're done. We haven't had a lot of starts because we're design build. So we haven't gone into any new projects. As a matter of fact, some of the projects that we were supposed to start during this time frame, they're going to be coming up on starts pretty soon. And so we get to start practicing this whole technique of, making sure that we're wearing our masks, working in our work zone, wiping down the surfaces when we're done, and just having that really good dialogue and communication about social distancing with the client. If they can stay out of the work areas that we're working in, that would be even better. The more they can stay away from that zone, and we have our zone, even though we're cleaning them up, I still think that that's a really safe practice that we're practicing in our company right now as a policy. Yeah. So I think it's working pretty well.
How is this impacting your employees?
You know, everybody's different when it comes to this pandemic. I think I've learned and I've seen as an employer, some of our employees are not as caught on to the mask and wearing it and the social distancing, and others, and that's in a personal environment, and others are really aware of it. And so, my employees, there's a policy. We wear our mask when we walk around out in the office area or in the design center, or as soon as there's a client coming in. But what's really unique about our design center here is that we all have our own spaces. So like I'm in my office right now, and our designers have their own spaces. And so we're working in our work environment without our masks on. But the minute we go out, and just like in a restaurant, we're walking around, we're putting on those masks and, practicing social distancing and going down that path.
You mentioned a slower time in April and May especially, and so I wanted to ask if you went after any PPP money, and were you successful getting it?
Yes. There was a lot going on at that time, and in the business community, some people had reached out to me about the PPP, and I'm thankful they did, and I was able to go down that path and apply and get the first round of money for our employees to keep them on payroll. And immediately we had probably like 3 employees went home, and they worked from home. So that was really cool. Were they productive? Productivity changed a little bit, and also we weren't that busy. So we were able to work on the company a little bit, work on some projects, but work on the company a little bit to make the changes that we needed to make. This whole Zoom thing, we're getting better at it, and we're starting to do a lot more Zoom meetings with clients. And we're finding that we actually like that. We actually like that fact that we can quickly, hey, instead of coming into our office, why don't we go over our design plans, and we can show you on our computer and have a discussion about it without you coming all the way across town or across the causeway, to meet with us. So that's worked out really well too. So I think the employees are handling this really well right now.
Yeah. A lot of folks did not receive PPP round 1 or 2. And I just wanted to know, are you banking with a small or a large bank?
So yes, we bank locally. That was one of the biggest pieces of advice I got from a business friend early on, is to get into with a local banker. And we bank with First Northern Bank, and they did a fabulous job of working with my general manager and myself to get all the proper paperwork in that we needed. And it was tight. Everything was going fast. The money was going out quickly, and we were able to get into that first round and work through First Northern Bank. So very thankful that we had a local bank that we worked with. Yeah.
So Marty, as we close out, how can people, if they're trying to instigate that new project, get some extra space or whatever their needs are, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So we're on the internet at morsecustomhomes.com, and you can call us at 758-5321 on our phone number. We're located in Davis on West Cobell Boulevard, 2860 West Cobell Boulevard. There's Thrive and Shelley's Power 10 is in the same little parking lot over here. So I know that hopefully they're going to get up and running here pretty soon, but we're right by Lake Boulevard and on West Cobell. So probably the best way is to call or to get onto our website and put your information in, and we'll take the inquiry and go with it.
So this is, I've been talking to Marty Morse. He's the owner of Morse Custom Homes and Remodeling. And I will say as a close that I can personally vouch for their extraordinary service from, a previous home that they helped me with. So thank you for joining us, Marty.
Thank you so much, Heidi, for having me. And this is a great thing that you're doing here in Northern California. So keep up the great work. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I will see everyone tomorrow.